everybody. How y'all doing? How we doing? Welcome to Jet Talk Interviews. As I interview people that have their own YouTube channel or a business. Matter of fact, this is not what a business. This is one of the. I wanted to interview this person a long time because I followed him on through high school football season. I'll be seeing him scores to the finals, to the tick and everything. Send make sure that my school make it to the ticker and all the good stuff. I actually asked him on Twitter to come on my channel, and he gave me plenty of time to get my question together, get my thoughts together. Because this is my first time ever doing an interview with a broadcaster from all the way from Channel 11 to GPPB. He got his own YouTube channel, all this stuff. How you doing, Matt Stewart? How you doing?
I am doing good, Jarrett. Good to talk to you this morning.
So please tell the people who do not know about you how you started your broadcast career from the news to
Yeah,
where you're at right now.
yeah. Well, it started when I went to school. I went to Georgia State University a long time ago, and majored in broadcast journalism. And it was there that I got involved, in the business. Worked for the campus radio station. Then they had a small campus television station at the time, and I did that. And I wrote for the newspaper, wrote sports, and really. I got into this business because I love sports. It's all about sports to me. It's not about being on television. It's not about being on radio. It's not about writing stories. It's about sports, and so that's what drives me. I really enjoy sports and covering sports, talking about sports. It's just been a passion of mine, since I was a little boy, and so here I am. But that's how I got started. Got started at school, and from there I got my first jobs and moved up the ladder.
What made you start your journey? This man want you to start, or it was your passion when you started?
Well, I mean, it started out, and excuse my dog. My dog, every time I start talking, my dog gets up here and she demands attention. So I don't know if you can see her, but she's over
Okay.
here.
Okay.
She's up here and she wants to be a part of the conversation, because she wants my attention. But anyway, to
Okay.
answer your question, I first started out working at a local cable outlet. Cable College Park East Point no longer exists, but we were doing high school football on a tape delay basis. We would do the game like it was live on Friday night and then replay it, I think, on Sundays. And so that's how it that was the first thing I did. That was the first play by play I did. So, in the first game I ever got to call, as it turns out, was Woodward Academy versus Glen Hills in the state playoffs. So Glen Hills out of Augusta. So that was the first game I ever got to call, and it just kind of happened, fell into place. I don't want to say it just kind of happened, it fell into place. I felt, the Lord kind of opened that door for me, and I got to do it. And it was an eye opener when I did that game. It was at that point that I realized just how fast the game moves. So I thought I was prepared until the game started, and I was like, wow, this game moves really, really fast. And so a lot faster than I anticipated that it would. But that was my start. That was my very first game. Was that game?
Were you nervous when you
Oh,
started the
absolutely.
first
Of
day?
course, yes. I was nervous. I was more nervous than I knew I was nervous. Because when the game started, and that, like I said, they kicked off, and I was like, "Oh
Mhm.
my gosh," and I was a little bit of a panic. I was like, "My
Mhm.
gosh, I got to get it together really quick here." I think you can see my dog sticking her head in the picture here, but I apologize for
That's
that. But
fine. No problem.
she she doesn't like to get too far away from me, and so when
I
I start
understand.
talking to other people, she gets jealous. But
Oh,
anyway, yes. So when it kicked off, I was nervous. But
mm,
then when it started, I really almost got to a panic because I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get this thing, I got to get it together real quick here. Start thinking really fast because this game, I'd always just kind of watch the game, and it didn't seem very fast. Watching the game, but when you got to start talking about it and describing and telling people what's happening, it
mhm.
starts going really fast.
So what the game broadcasted? What the game broadcast?
It was
What
on
you
cable. Yes, it was a recorded game. It was not live.
okay.
We were not. It was a taped game. We would, but we recorded it like it was live. We didn't go back and do any edits. We
Okay.
did the game like it was live and just recorded it to tape and replayed it. That was a long, long time ago. No one was doing anything like that back then.
So uh, so how you get to the from the pre-recorded games to
Mm.
how you get to the Channel 11
Oh yeah, a
broadcast?
long story.
How
So I'll just kind of take you through it as, and I'll try to make it as short as possible because
go
I've
ahead.
been doing this a long time. So well, I don't want to bore people too much. But
Go
yeah. So after I graduated from Georgia State, and I did some jobs while I was at Georgia State. I was
ahead.
very blessed to receive. Started working for the Georgia Radio Network,
Mhm,
doing weekend sports updates for them. That was my very first paying job, and I had a
mhm.
few other games here and there. But my first full time job in the business came at WKU Radio in Griffin. I wasn't even doing sports; I was doing news. There was no, I couldn't find any sports openings, so I
Okay.
started doing news. And yeah, I didn't like news very much. I almost quit. I almost said this is not for me. But the Lord opened the door for me, and I was able to start doing sports and calling games there in Griffin. And the Griffin Bears at the time, they were a huge. I mean, they were one of the state powers at the time. And I know they've kind of fallen off a little bit, but yeah, did football and did some basketball. And then I got an opportunity to work at WRFC in Athens. At the time, it was the flagship station for the Georgia Bulldogs network, and so I did a lot. I mean, I was doing nothing but sports there, so that was great, but wasn't
Mhm.
making a whole lot of money. But it was great because I was doing nothing but sports,
And not,
and and so I did that, did sportscast, did sportscast in the morning and the afternoon, called games, ended up doing Georgia baseball there, high school football there. I was doing pre and post game stuff for the Georgia Bulldogs network on football. And so that was great. I mean, that was a really fun time in my life from a professional standpoint because I mean, it was covering the Georgia Bulldogs, which at the time, it still is to this day. It's a lot different now for me, having been in the business for so long, but I was a huge fan. I mean, I was a huge fan back then, and it was just great to cover those teams that I had grown up watching all my life. So I
mhm.
worked there, and then I got an opportunity to go back to the Georgia network, two different networks from the one that I described before. The first one went out of business, but this was the second Georgia network, and it was attached to WGST. And I left Athens and went to Atlanta to do that. Came back to Atlanta, I should say, because Atlanta's where I grew up, and worked there, and was a sports director for the Georgia network, and I did afternoon sports, and I hosted a talk show. That's the first time I'd ever hosted a talk show in my life, is when I started
Wow.
working there at
Wow.
WGST. And did that, and I was doing pre and post game for the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Hawks, and
Mhm,
wasn't doing any play by play. Those opportunities weren't there,
mhm,
but that always remained the thing I wanted to do, and so did that. Worked there for 8 years,
mhm,
and that got us to the place where Channel 5 WAGA,
mhm.
they were going to start up a news channel. They were going to have their own news channel. A lot of people have these things now, but
Right.
they're streaming. Back then there was no streaming, so this was
Right.
an actual channel. It was
Right.
going to be they're going to be a news channel, so it was going to be 24-hour news and talk shows and stuff like that. And so they hired me to host a show in the evenings called Sports Unlimited. It was going to be it's a sports talk show on television, very Larry Kingish like back in the
Yep.
days, like Larry King used to do that.
Right.
It was along that kind of a format, and so I started doing that. It was called Sports Unlimited, and very first guest I had on my show was Atlanta Falcons head coach June Jones. Had a
Yeah.
lot of interesting guests on that show, and that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun,
Mhm,
and so I did that. And what happened with that was Channel Five changed ownership, and so you'll see this happens a lot in your career.
mhm.
Ownership changes and then plans change. And it's got nothing to do with what you've done or anything you've done. But, all of a sudden you're going in a different direction. So Channel 5 uh, started this, but then they had a change in ownership, and the new ownership came in. It was Fox. Channel 5 actually a long time ago used to be a CBS station, but it
Right.
was, and so Fox comes in and it's an owned and operated, an O&O as they like to call them. And so
Mhm.
all the decisions about the channel were being made not in Atlanta but in Los Angeles. And so they didn't want, they had no desire whatsoever to be involved in a news channel. So
Mhm.
that idea quickly dissipated. So the owners of the cable outfit where the news channel was, Media One at the time, it's no longer a company anymore, but Media One, and it later became AT&T Broadband, which later became Comcast, which still exists. And so they decided, we like this show, we're going to keep it. So we did that. So I kept doing that show every night at 9 o'clock. I ultimately moved to 7 o'clock, but every night at 9 o'clock. And then from there, they wanted to start branching out into high school football. And so we did. And so we became the first people, at least in this part of the world, I don't know about anywhere else,
Mhm.
to start doing live high school football on Friday nights.
Mhm.
And so we started every Friday night. We had high school football on, and it went from there. And I've been doing high school football on Friday nights, you know, ever since. And that was 1998 when that started.
Ooh.
And some years I did more than others because my responsibilities when it became Comcast Sports Southeast, I did a lot of college football, and a lot of times I couldn't be there on Friday night anymore.
Right.
But
Right.
so, but every year I was still doing high school football, and that's since 1998. And that started out with Media One Channel 33, which became AT&T Broadband, which
Mhm.
became Comcast Sports Southeast, which of course is no longer in existence either. So you see there's a common thread. A lot of the people I've worked for no longer even exist. So, and I don't know what that means, but it's just the kind of the way the business is. Anyway, so from there, all that, and so I worked with Comcast Sports Southeast starting basically, just not to complicate it through ownership changes and stuff like that. We'll say from 1998 to, or actually from 1996 to 2014, when Comcast Sports Southeast, when the owners of Comcast Sports Southeast, which is NBC Sports,
Mhm.
decided to shut down the network because we no longer were going to have any Southeastern Conference football or men's basketball content because
Right.
they were ESPN was launching the SEC network, and I'd worked for them a little bit too.
Mhm.
And again, I don't want to get into all the complications of this and that and everything else, but that was
Mhm.
like a crossover between the two companies, and I was working for ESPN while also being working for CSS. So anyway, so in 2014 to get Channel 11, that's when they called me and they needed somebody to come fill in and help do some stuff.
Mhm.
So in 2014, as Comcast Sports Southeast was going out of business, WXIA Channel 11, 11 Live Sports called me and asked me to come in there and help.
Mhm.
And so I started doing that a little bit. And so I've been doing that off and on, although I haven't done anything in over a year with them. So, I mean, they got a usually they call me when they have a need. And right now they've got a full staff. They've got 3 people in their sports department. They don't need
Right.
me. So that's fine. But 2014 is when I started working with those guys. And then also 2014 is when I started working for GPB Sports, and along the way I've worked for ESPN and the South SEC network, and now I'm just an old independent contractor. I just work with a bunch of different people. I don't work full time for anybody, but I work with GPV Sports, and I work with ESPN through third parties such as Georgia State, the Sun Belt Conference, the University of Georgia, and also do the College Park Skyhawks. And with that, I'm hired by the Atlanta Hawks to do that.
All right. No.
So yeah, that's as short as I can make it. It's been a long career, and I've been blessed.
It's an amazing career. That now that was called a journey. But all that, I'm not putting you on the spot. What's the best part of being a broadcaster of all of it?
Oh yeah,
Overall,
yeah. Covering sports,
what's the best part?
being able to follow my passion. It is work because that's how I make my living, but I don't really consider it work. I never, I was just thinking about that today. There's not one day that I've ever gone into work, to do sports. At least I'm sure there might have been a few exceptions when I didn't feel well or something like that, but never did I feel like, oh, man, I really don't want to be doing this. I wish I was doing something else. So Yeah, and so I still feel that way about all the games that I do and anything else I ever do. I still really enjoy the sports aspect of it. Meeting the coaches, talking to players. Performing, executing the game from my perspective, and trying to do my best. And yeah, so yeah, that's what drives it. Yeah.
So what made what um let me put this way. Do you love what you do right now
Yes.
from
Oh,
beginning to end?
absolutely.
If you weren't doing this, if you weren't doing broadcasting, what would your plan? What your backup plan
Yeah.
be?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, it would be something to do with sports, I would say.
Mm,
I mean, because again, the broadcasting and all that is just being the vehicle for me to pursue my passion, which is sports and watching and covering sports. So, I like to joke with people a lot of time. I've never
mhm,
worked a day in my life, which that's not true, but it kind of feels that way when you're able to have a job that has been your passion, that's something that you love and you really enjoy it. It's really a blessing.
So when you do your sports and live and stuff, do you ever like take time get the if like get information from like from the game perspective and get to know the players and like in one by one? Do you ever like make sure your notes are perfectly not want to say perfectly, but straight so you won't miss up anything when you go live on
Oh, look, hey,
TV.
I make mistakes every time I go on the air. The key is you try to minimize them and try not to make them, but and not let them be huge mistakes. I mean,
Mhm,
everybody's going to make mistakes.
mhm,
We're all human. We're going to make mistakes in whatever we do, even the best. And I'm not certainly one of those, but
mhm.
even the best of doctors. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's
Right.
perfect. So if perfection is your goal, I mean, you're going to go crazy trying to reach that perfection goal because you're never going to get there. So, I've certainly I've had games where I felt like I did a really good job. And then I came home and I watched it and I was like, oh, wow, I wasn't nearly as good as I thought I was. And then I've had games where I thought I really did a terrible job. And I came home and saw it and I was like, yeah, I wasn't nearly as bad as I thought I was. So, I mean,
I was just about you just asked my question about dealing right. I mean, watch the game back and see yourself
yeah.
and like what in the world I'm doing? Oh, nothing.
No, I mean, I think no, you have to do that. I mean, that's just that's what they call that's what they call in football or basketball. That's self scouting. That's like
Okay.
football teams. They record their practices all the time. Now, why
Mhm,
would you record the practice so you can go back and watch and
mhm,
and pick up on? I mean, so that's just smart business right there. And I saw something the other day talk about how somebody was talking to Mike Tirico, kind of like the same kind of thing, and he said,
right.
"Yeah, you go back and you watch so you can learn to do
Learn
it
from
better the next
right.
time."
So when you got to do the high school football and got Wayne Gannon. So who? How you get him on being your broadcast partner on the Friday nights? How'd that come? How'd that come?
The the guy who does the games with me.
Yeah, Wayne Gannon. How you get him on the
Yeah. Wayne played. I mean, Wayne and I got connected through ESPN.
mm,
I didn't know. Well, that's not entirely true. The first time I met Wayne was when he was playing for the Atlanta Falcons,
right.
and I had him as a guest on my show, but we were not really connected. He was just, he was a guest
Okay.
on my show, and we had a
Okay.
good show, blah, blah, blah. But
Right.
we got truly connected working together on ESPN. ESPN hired him to do color on college football games, and I was doing play by play on college football games, and we got connected. And they hire. You don't have any say in that. They hire you and they say they assign you to this game and they assign the color commentator to the game, and that's how we got connected, by that. And so we were doing a lot of games together. And so when there was a situation that arose at GPB where they had a game that somebody was going to miss, I suggested, hey, I work a lot with Wayne. Let's try Wayne. And so that's how Wayne got in there. But, Wayne, I mean, typically with your color commentator, you want somebody who, is an expert in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And, Wayne played football all his life. He was an All American, started every game that he played at Auburn University. And then he was a first round draft pick by the LA Rams, played with 4 different teams in the National Football League, 15 years.
Wow.
And I mean, he's an expert. He's an expert at football.
Wow.
So that's how he's got the job.
So what was the first game of the final night when you two together? What was the first game you called?
Now that I don't remember. I'm guessing that it was probably a Georgia State football game that ESPN hired us to do. I'm
Okay.
guessing.
Okay.
I'm guessing, but we did games all over it. We did games in New Orleans. We did games all over the Georgia Southern. We did games all over the place. But I'm thinking, and I don't have a memory as to what specifically the game was, but I
Mhm.
think it was probably a game involving Georgia State at the old Georgia Dome.
Okay. All right. What, so when you came, well, when I came on Twitter and you were tweeting everything about high school football and giving the scores. So the question is from Twitter. I'm asked
Hmm.
my handle Whoopet. When I sent the scores to you or
Right,
anybody in the
GPP.
PPP, who actually gets it and then send it and put it on the ticker? Like
That's a good question. I mean, I don't even know. So, I mean, we have people that work on that during the game,
mm,
and I don't even know. I mean, I don't think I've ever met them. So, yeah, they do that. It's a big operation. So that's how that happens.
and
We have people specifically. That's their job. That's what their job is on a Friday night, is to get those scores and put them on the ticker. Yep.
so so with certain games like let's say like if Woodwood plays part of you
Uh huh.
and you said like I was watching the game you say you going it's gonna be on TV but some place is gonna be like let's say if you go in the like you call out the Brookwood game and
Hmm.
then the next game you will not be there. You know where the next game will be where you call. So do you know when the next game? Well, let's say with the season starts. Do you know who you gonna be what school you gonna be calling for the 2026,
Yeah,
2027?
yeah. Well, we're working on this. Well, for example, kind of the process. It's a collective process. Our executive producer is Kevin Gerke, and he makes the ultimate decision. And we all of us involved with it, provide our input. And I'm in the process of looking at games right now. And I know some of the games that we'll be doing in the month of September.
Mhm,
Hey, I can't say that right now. That's not my job to say. We'll let GPB publicize that. But
mhm,
um, so we work on it. We collaborate and we decide what are the best games to do. So yeah, but when we go on the air on Friday night, generally speaking, now there have been situations where we didn't know because of extraordinary circumstances, but generally speaking, when I get in the booth, we know several weeks in advance where we're going next week, the next week. Yeah.
There would the did it take? I know I'm gonna put it away. I know after the game's over, that and y'all do like after the coaches
Hmm.
conversations. Well, let's put it away. Um, for you perspective, the what the I'm not gonna say who's the favorite, but who's the best guest you have on your channel to have it before the game or
Oh,
during.
yeah. I don't know. That'd be a hard question. I mean, I don't have any. I don't have any coaches that I would say have, they're all very good. I mean, they're all great to work with. They give us a lot of their time during the week. We do long conference calls with them on Wednesday or Thursday prior to the game to help us get ready for the game, to give us, some insight. I don't want to say inside information, but
Right.
like insight on their players, and that's where we get a lot of our information is just direct conversation with those coaches, and they're all great. We It's very rare that we run into anybody who's not very helpful. They're all very helpful. They understand the process. They understand what we're trying to do. They understand that we're trying to paint their program and their players in the best light. That we have their best interest as our intention. So, yeah, they're all great to work with. Is there one that's better than the other? I don't, I wouldn't want to say that because I don't want to, it wouldn't be
Balance, right,
offending, but I
right,
don't want to single anybody out and say he's
right,
better
right,
than this guy. But
right,
they're
right.
all great to work with. Guys like, Brian Appling at Buford, or, Ben Reeves at Milton, or Joey King at Carrollton, all those guys in their own way. Santavius Bryant, who was at Grayson, who's now at Gainesville. These are all great guys to work with. Kareem Reed at McEachern. All these guys, I really enjoy my conversations with them because I learn a lot from them.
You know what? So he brought up Buford. I want to say this. That game between Buford and Carrollton was the best game ever. I mean, I
Which
had to,
game? Buford versus who? Carrollton? Yeah, it
was
was
it
good.
Buford
It
and
was great.
Carrollton or was it?
It was Carrollton in the state
Oh,
finals. Yeah.
okay. I was when they said Buford was the top of the world or everything. I'm
Yeah.
sure they're gonna will stay up there. But I'm saying that game right there between Buford and Carrollton, I nearly shared that game
It was a great
on
game.
Facebook, and everybody nearly watched it. I was like, this is gonna be crazy because I know it's gonna be one heck of a game. And I thought Carrollton was gonna win that game, but Buford like you're not gonna make me lose this game and on
Yeah,
national TV.
yeah, they have a tremendous program. They've won so many state championships. I forget is that we're what not. I think we're at 15 or 16, something like that.
15,
That they
15,
yeah,
15.
15. Yeah, they've won
Yeah,
15. So yeah, yeah, and it's a
uh,
great program. And Brian Appling's a perfect guy for that head coaching job.
that was
He's
great.
got the
Oh,
right temperament for it, and it's a big time job. It really is, and I was really happy. I'm not saying I'm happy for them that they beat Carrollton. I'm happy for them that they won the national championship. I would have been happy for Carrollton had they won it. So all those guys are great guys, and so yeah, but it was a great game when Ty Green broke off that 80-yard touchdown run with 2.5 minutes to play. That's why he was the player of the year in my mind. I mean,
yeah,
that guy, he was
yeah.
extraordinary, and now he's at the University of Georgia.
I'm sure he gonna come out. I'm not gonna say he gonna come out as a sophomore for for the draft, but I'm gonna say between the sophomore or junior year, he's gonna come out and probably gonna be like I don't want to say the first round, the first.
Yeah, if everything goes well, he's going to be an NFL player. There's no doubt. If everything goes well, there's just so many variables that come into play with those guys, things that they don't control. Injuries can happen. It's a very violent game and people get hurt, and
That's
those
true.
injuries can derail your career easily. And so I wish him the best. Hopefully, number one, stay healthy, don't get hurt. But he's got a big future ahead of him if all that happens.
What the do you have a do you have a like a least? Not the football, not the high school football. Do you have a least favorite? I
A least
say
favorite
yes,
sport? I
yes.
mean, I don't know. I don't know. I've never really
I'm not
thought
saying
about
sports. I'm
having.
not saying sports. I'm not like a. If I say sports, it'll be hard to say. Your least favorite job. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
sure. There are guys that I just they rub me wrong, or I rub them wrong, or whatever the
mhm,
case may be. I wouldn't
right.
want to say anything like that on the air.
Mhm,
I mean but those, yeah, certainly there's guys who, the interview didn't go well for whatever reason, and and a lot of times it really had nothing to do with me. It
right.
really just had to do with the mood that they happened to be in at the time, and. Yeah, no, but I wouldn't want to say. But if I, not in public, but I would be certainly willing to tell you some stories sometime about some of these people. So
Okay. What if you have now what you I see you doing on YouTube. So what you do on YouTube now when you get ready for the season to start? So what you do on YouTube?
yeah,
I,
I'm not, I haven't done a lot on YouTube lately. I've just been way too busy doing other stuff. But
mm,
a lot of times when I crank up my high school football podcast, I'll put that on YouTube.
okay. I know you don't do it. You don't do it constantly. You just do it when something comes up. You just like I want to put this up and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
what's the
yeah.
so when um what the do you have any advice for people who want to get in the broadcast
Sure.
field and they want and there's some reason they run into you and they hey
Yeah, sure.
I want kind of
Absolutely.
advice I want kind of advice I want to get to broadcast and kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of advice you want to get to them?
Well, number one, do it for the right reasons. What are you doing it for? I'm not saying there's a right or wrong reason, but I think if you want to last in it and be successful, it's got to be for the right. If you're trying to do this to be a star, or fame, or look at me, that's going to probably burn out really quick. But do it. For me, it's been sports, just covering my passion. I love covering sports and talking about sports and watching sports. And that's just the way it's always been for me. And so that, follow that, and that keeps me going because I have a great interest in it. So I'm never at a loss. I'm sitting here and I'm sitting here this morning thinking about what's going to happen in game 4 of the NBA finals tonight. So,
Oh,
you
oh,
know,
yeah.
so again, I got nothing to do with the NBA finals. I'm just
Oh,
sitting here watching it on television just like everybody else. But yeah, I'm thinking, wow, yeah, game 4. I mean, I wake up and I'm out walking my dog and I'm like, okay, what's going to be on what sports are on TV today that I can sit here and watch while I'm doing some other stuff that I need to get done. And so the NBA finals are tonight, and that's going to be interesting. So, and
you,
I got not,
you,
like I said, I have no vested interest in it. I don't really care who wins.
I was
And
gonna ask, are you gonna watch the game tonight, or you just going just like let it
I'll just
run?
watch it. I mean, most games I just watch. I don't, I'm not cheering for anybody. I mean, even as much as I love the Braves and I've watched the Braves all my life and grew up a
Right,
Braves fan,
right.
I'm not cheering when I'm watching the game. I'm just watching the game.
Yeah, like you're not like you like me. I'm not a diehard fan. I just like to sit back and just enjoy and just get highlights of the sports out there. But do you have any say we about the it is great conversation, a great interview, and find get to know you behind the scenes, everything else. Do you have any final remarks or comments?
Yeah, just if just keep doing it. Just you love sports, just keep doing that. I mean, you know, and if you're blessed like I've been blessed by the Lord to be able to do this as a career, enjoy that and give glory to the one who gave you the opportunity and you know do it for the right reasons. Again, don't do it, people will do it. I'm not saying that that's not the right reason, but
Mhm.
what I'm saying is if you're doing it just to be famous or be a celebrity or say look at me, I'm on television or I'm doing this, then that's going to burn out pretty quick because trust me, you're going to find plenty of people, especially now in the age of social media where access to people is so much. I mean, you're
Right.
going to find plenty of people who say you're an idiot, you're a jerk, you're terrible, you're a clown show. And trust me, I've heard all that in just the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
So, and I
have
mean,
people call you that?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there. They hide behind, burner account. They don't put their names on their, on their social media. They're hiding
Mhm.
behind something, and they just, yeah. So
Right.
you can't get caught up in that. But yeah, everybody gets that. Trust me, the best in the world, and I'm not one of those, but the best in the world, they get it too. So you can't ever make anybody happy. So I mean, you can't make everybody happy. So
Mhm.
just know what you do and do it to the best of your ability, and, prepare and study for the games, and again, do it for the right reasons. And the other thing is, like, look, if you're doing this to, like, get rich, I mean, forget that. I mean, this is a very brutal business. You
Mhm.
can be, you could be working for somebody today, and then the next day you're not, and you're like, why am I not working for these people anymore? And there's no legitimate reason other than they just decided they wanted to use somebody else, and that's just the way it is.
So what next for Matt Stewart for the
Well, I
future?
mean, the next thing on my calendar is not for a couple of weeks. The next thing I'll be doing will be Sunbelt Football Media Days, and I've been doing that since 2015. Um, you know, it's like media days, just like every other conference has a football media days.
Mhm.
Well, I'll go to New Orleans, and the Sunbelt has their football media days coverage where they bring in all the coaches, and they bring in, a couple of players from each team, and we're part of it. They have a press conference area, and my part of that is we have a studio in New Orleans, and I will sit down and interview all the coaches. I'll do
Oh,
that'll be a 2 day thing, and that'll be on ESPN Plus. I think it's July 15th and 16th.
all right then. As for that, I appreciate for you stop by and get to know you on
Well, I'm glad we were finally
and
able to nail down a time. You've been very patient. Thank you for that, Jarrett.
I'm honored to have you. It's been a while. I know it's been a while. I've just been busy working
Yeah,
everything. I ain't want to rush you or anything. I just want to take your
you
time
didn't. It was
and
all good.
so I hope I hope I see you on GBP, GPB Sports and come out the games and stuff. And I'll
Sure,
definitely
absolutely. We'll be doing that
and
again this year. Start Our GPB sports schedule will start on September 11th. So the Friday after Labor Day will be our first games. But
yes,
I
sir.
probably, I'm thinking I probably will be doing some Corky Kell, and that'll start up in August.
Okay, all right then. I, I, that would be in like Woodward game. So
Yeah.
yes, that'd be good. So well, I appreciate that, and I will see you in the booth for
Look forward
September
to it. Thank
11th.
you, Jarrett. Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. All right, I'll drop them down. All right, y'all. That was one of the broadcasters from GPB Sports, and it was a honor to get to know him behind the scenes, Matt Stewart, and it was a great interview, and I know it's been a, a wait. Well, I mean a wait, but I'm happy to get him. But the next interview coming is very soon. I don't know when. I don't know when. But I'll let you know when the next interview be. But I will be here. I will be on my main channel tonight on the bit channel, hanging out, chilling. So you see me tonight. You see me tonight 8 p.m. Standard Time on the bit channel and that good stuff. So it's great to see it. So other than that, I see you serious. I see you serious, but yeah, it's honored to see that. But yeah, I'll see. But other than that, I'll see y'all whenever I see you on Dear Talk interviews. And remember, I will be on my man channel tonight and 8 o'clock chit chatting and everything. So let make it happen. Let's get this the 400. We about 30 way on the interview channel, which is great. Um, no live on Friday night. But on the main channel, we're good to go. But I'll see y'all tonight on Dead Talk Enemy, Dead Talks Man Show, and we are gone. Peace.